All right, Matt, our third fight on the main card, UFC São Paulo, and I know this is a fight that we're both really excited for because it could go either of two ways. You've got Charles the Bronx Olivera, who's been in the UFC since 2010. His first appearance was a submission win over Darren Elkins on UFC on Versus 2, taking on Jared Flash Gordon. And Matt, this is actually a really fun fight at 155. And I want to preface this by saying Charles Olivera, since he's moved back to 155, looks amazing. This is one of those guys that he just kind of pops up out of nowhere, gets a nice little win, and then just goes back to Brazil, and you don't see him or hear from him. But listen, this is one of those guys that he's on a 5-fight win streak, all 5 by finish. His last one was a knockout over Nick Lentz, and this is a submission specialist. And he's one of those guys that only loses to upper echelon talent. You might say, Craig, he lost to Jim Miller at one point. Hey, Jim Miller was top talent. 10
years ago, though.
He was top talent, and he avenged that loss in this 5-fight win streak. For Jared Gordon, you look at his UFC record, not as great, and you look at the wins that he has, guys like Michel Quinones, Dan Moret, the 3 that he does have in the UFC, Hacker and Diaz as well. None of those guys are in the UFC anymore, and the losses have came to decent competition, guys like Diego Ferreira, but it hasn't really gone all to plan.
It's just weird matchmaking that you have a guy coming off 5 straight stoppage wins, fighting a guy who's 1-2 in his last 3. And it's no disrespect to Jared Gordon, because he is a really good fighter, and every single fight he does show that he improves on the things that he wasn't as good at before. It's just really odd that you're taking a guy who's ranked 13th in the world and who looks to be one of those guys. And this is the frustrating thing about being a Charles Olivera fan. Every single fight he has, he looks amazing, and the first thing they ask him, they're like, oh, you're not cutting all this weight anymore. How do you feel at lightweight? And he always goes, I want to move back down to 145. And it makes no sense whatsoever. I just feel like Charles Olivera, when we look at what both guys do really well, Charles Olivera might be the best grappler in MMA. And that's not even that controversial a statement. He has the most submission wins in UFC history, and if the fight goes to the ground, he's never going to be at a disadvantage.
And he's a bonus machine as well.
And he never has a boring fight. That's the only thing that might play into Jared Gordon. Charles Oliveira will get wild, and he will be risky, and he can get caught that way, but he's got a good chin, good cardio, good striking, and one of the best ground games a person can have. So it's just weird matchmaking to me, and I do feel like Charles Oliveira is going to be able to get the stoppage.
I mean, going over the time here, but Charles Oliveira minus 370 favorite on certain sites, normally minus 350 on others. Jared Gordon plus 300, plus 275. I'm going to take Oliveira. I think he's going to be able to get it done.
By submission.
Whether it's by submission, whether he's able to do something on the feet as well. I mean, Jared Gordon, some of the shots are fairly labored, and if he does go for takedown attempts, they're really deep. They're kind of slow. Like, these are things. There's a lot of opportunities in there for Oliveira to finish.
The way that Francis Ngannou has like one punch knockout power, that's how good Charles Oliveira's jiu-jitsu is. He has like one touch choking power. If you do anything wrong going for a takedown on the mat, he's gonna be able to capitalize on it, jump to your back, and strangle you. Like, it's crazy to watch, and I feel like it should be a pretty good win for him. And then hopefully he does get a ranked opponent after that he can really show off again.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be one of those guys that when that offer sheet comes across the table, you just send it back over there slowly. But hey, really looking forward to this one. UFC São Paulo, a great card coming at us this week, and you're not going to want to miss our 2-minute predictions here on YouTube. Let's get into it.